Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you. I can see your chat also.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
So I leave it open and then you tell me when to go, right? And I just
Yep.
start. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Hi, Brigada. How are you?
It's well. It is well. You know, I meant to, and I sent you an email asking you about the document, but it was at the bottom.
There is no document.
It wasn't a document attached.
Nope. At least I didn't attach one. If the city provided one, then I don't have it.
Yeah.
Hello. It's 22 dark. Why is 22 dark? Someone from WITN? Amanda? Someone?
Oh, we're gonna look into that.
There's nothing on the station at all.
Actual channel. I was like, what is she saying 22 dark?
Who's that? Yolanda?
Yep, it's Yolanda.
I
Hello.
can't see. Hi. Hi, Commissioner Williams. Welcome.
Thank you. How are
Hi,
you
Daniel.
guys?
Hi.
Hi.
Woman, how are you?
Hi, Daniel. I don't think we've met yet.
We have not, no, and I can't wait to finish my rounds with department chairs. But it's great to meet you virtually.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Who's that?
Hello.
Is that Trippy?
Hello.
Yeah.
Congo, I'm sorry, President Congo.
Same thing.
Get used to this formality.
I'm going to give you, I want a nickname. I can put on a plaque when we finally get in the chambers.
What?
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
I had to stop.
To get back in the chambers? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I think we'll definitely, I think, be there by September when school starts, and maybe even before.
Okay. That sounds optimistic.
Well, I think with the president claiming everyone will be vaccinated or available to be vaccinated by May, that's the projection.
I did see that last night. So, you know, so, well, they may have enough vaccination.
Hi, Xanthia.
How you doing?
Good, good. Did you have fun last night?
Yes, I did. I did go out. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I just got my second shot, so I am free, let me tell you. Following all the precautions, still masking and distancing, but I feel free.
All right. Has WITN reached out to you yet, Councilwoman Gray?
Who?
Has WITN reached out to start the meeting yet?
No,
They haven't. Okay.
I can begin now. Good evening, everyone. This is the Intergovernmental Committee. My name is Linda Gray. I'm the first district council person. I'm the chair of this committee. The co-chair is Shanae Darby, which is second district council person. I welcome everyone. This is a new committee, new subjects, everything's new. So I'm going to start. Would committee members please introduce themselves?
Yes, this is Councilman Yolanda McCoy, 6th District.
Cynthia Alva, 3rd District.
Okay, any other council persons here not on the committee, please introduce yourself.
Councilwoman Brigida Fields, representing the 5th District.
Trippi Congo, Council President.
Thank you. Any other guests would like to introduce themselves? Okay, thank you. Tonight's
Excuse
meeting,
me.
yes?
Now, I was saying, when you called Shanae's, council member Shanae's name, does that mean she's not here with us?
She had school, but then I just got an email that said the school was canceled and she was joining us, so maybe she's running late. She does have kids, so there was something.
No
to
problem.
do.
No problem. When you just said her name, I was wondering why you said her name, but that's what, okay.
I'm introducing her as co-chair, but I don't know if she's joined us yet. Okay, the subject tonight is update on historical and current status of the water sewer issues prevailing between the city and Newcastle County. Who do we have here to speak to this matter?
I am here. Kelly Williams, Commissioner of Public Works.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it. If you all are ready, I can jump right in and give you a little history of what's going on between us and the county.
Thank you.
The first thing that I have to say is that the city and the county are in active litigation. So the comments that I can make tonight are very, very limited. But I can give you a background and give you a sense of what has happened in the past and what may happen in the future. So for some of you council members who are newer, the city owns, operates, and maintains the wastewater treatment plant. It bears the oversight responsibility and the regulatory responsibility for the plant. The plant was built in the mid-50s. It averages of more than 70 million gallons per day. That means 70 million gallons of sewer water is treated through our facility and then is cleaned and goes into the Delaware River. Now, the plant is a regional plant, and it services every person north of the C&D Canal and a small community in southeast Pennsylvania as well. So although the city owns and operates it, it services many, many more people than that. So the history is that the plant was built in the 1950s. Newcastle County does not have its own wastewater treatment plant. Well, at least not the size of ours. They have a small plant, I believe in Middletown, south of the canal. And what happened is the county made the decision long ago to send its wastewater to the city instead of building its own plant. And what that allowed the county to do is to concentrate on building out its own collection system and pump stations. The result was the county experienced substantial growth and development in the last several decades. And it would not have been possible if we had not allowed them to hook up to our wastewater treatment plant. So for decades and decades, the city and county had different agreements that govern the basis of how the county, which is a wholesale customer to the city, how they will pay us for the wastewater services. The parties were in agreement for many, many years, but in 2008, we could not come to an agreement. We were forced to go to arbitration. And as a result of the 2008 arbitration, a new agreement was reached June 1st, 2010. That current, or well, it's actually not current, that's the problem. That 2010 agreement expired in 2014. It was extended multiple times, 5 times to be exact. And we have not had an agreement with the county since 2016. So we've been providing their services at risk, if you will. So what the arbitration is about really is how and what to pay the city for the services that we provide. It gets very technical. Back in the 90s, we had a flat fee agreement that worked for a couple years. And then, like I said, in 2008, they disagreed with that methodology, and we went to arbitration. In 2010, they came out with the final arbitration agreement, which lasted until November 30th, 2014. There was 5 amendments, and the sole surviving provision of the 2010 agreement is the calculation of the fees. So since then, in fiscal years 15 and 16, the county refused to pay its share of the cost of water that's necessary to process the wastewater. In fiscal years 2017 through 2019, the county refused to pay the full base fee that we billed them. Those underpayments are in excess of $7 million. Most recently, the city provided notice of the county's default for failure to pay those amounts. And just in calendar year 2020 alone, they owe us in excess of $3 million for underpayment of our costs. Since then, the county has paid portions of the amount that they think is due, but they're not paying all of what we think they owe. So basically, since I walked in the door to the city, right? I've been with the city for 12 years, and I started as a city solicitor in the law department, and this was the first matter that I worked on. Since then, we have not been able to come to a resolution with the county. So that has spanned the Baker administration, the Williams administration. Now we're in the second term of the Brzezicki administration. There's been 5, I think, commissioners of public works who have attempted in good faith to come to a resolution with the county and have not been able to. So, at some point you have to throw your hands up and say, we're going to court. And that's essentially what we've done. What the county is looking for is they don't like the methodology that we use to bill them. And what they want us to bill them on is a flow and strength methodology. And while we have attempted numerous times to come to some sort of flow and strength calculation, it's not. We've concluded that it's not achievable, partly because of the way the wastewater treatment plant is constructed, the size of the force main that comes in from the county. It's 12 feet wide. It never stops flowing. You cannot penetrate the concrete without really basically challenging the integrity of the actual large pipe. There's been opportunities that the county has had to allow us to provide the metering and the sampling that we need to come to some sort of scientific determination of allocation of costs, but they've refused. So in August of 2020, we participated in a mediation with the county. We came to an agreement. We came to the terms of an interim agreement. When it came down to the nitty gritty of the words of the agreement, neither party could agree, and we walked away and we filed for arbitration. That's the next step in the litigation process. So that at this point, we just don't see a point in trying to mediate or resolve anything with the county. We're not getting anywhere. And so that's why we're in arbitration. In November, there'll be a panel of 3 arbitrators hearing our case, and a decision will come shortly thereafter. So that sort of sums up the history of the litigation and the what's going on. What I'd like to point out, and this is not part of the litigation, but it's certainly part of the discussion you all should be having as representatives of the city, are issues that aren't based on money or numbers, but are really are really big public policy issues. So the wastewater treatment plant is 54 acres, and it's in our city. Our city is 15.4 square miles. So we have this massive regional plant in our boundary. And with that comes pollution, smell, all of those environmental injustices that happen, and they're here in our backyard. And if you look at the population that service is being serviced by the wastewater treatment plant, the city is between 12 and 15%. 85% or more of the population, we are processing their waste. We only have 3 industrial treatment, industries that are coming from within the city. Every other industry out there in the county, we process their very highly, contaminated, waste, right? So you look at Noramco and some of these other big, large companies, and we're treating their waste. And I don't think that part of the issue is discussed enough, right? So there's money, there's a way to bill customers, there's this, whatever is fair and equitable, but really we should be talking about the wastewater treatment plant was built on the city's credit. It was the good faith and the credit of the city. We took out all the loans. Our name is on the NIPD's permit, the actual permit that if we violate, we can go ahead and be fined by the EPA. And the county doesn't have to bear any of that risk, none of it, not a single, they'll never be fined. They'll never be, there's no repercussions for them to send us waste that is not appropriate. And furthermore, when you're talking about environmental injustices, the wastewater treatment plant is right next to DSWA, or, Mount Trashmore. So another huge environmental issue, right in our backyards. And just like the wastewater treatment plant, it's not city garbage that's taking up Mount Trashmore. It's the rest of the state, and it's the, Newcastle County. And I just think that that's sort of I don't want that point to be lost, sort of in the discussion of a litigation and, the technicalities of treating waste, and how much it costs to do this and that. And yeah, so really that's just one of the points I wanted to make. But a lot of that is about all I can say. I don't want to, I don't want to influence, or not influence, but I don't want to, step over the bounds of saying anything that I shouldn't, because it can come back to haunt us, I guess, with the litigation. So I see some hands up.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Are there any, thank you very much for the presentation. I do have some questions, but I'm going to refer to council members first. Are there any council members that have questions? Oh, first I'd like to acknowledge Councilwoman Michelle Harley, who has joined us. Are there any council members that have questions for Commissioner Williams?
Yes, I do.
I don't see your hand, Trippy. Okay, I'm sorry. President Congo, go ahead. I acknowledge you.
Thank you, Chairwoman. And thank you, Commissioner Williams. Great information. Earlier in your presentation, you mentioned a small community in Pennsylvania. What community is that?
So that's like the Boothwyn area, right north of Naaman's Road when you cross over the boundary. So it's a pretty small community, but it is connected to the county system, which then is connected to our wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, so it's not separate from the county.
No, so they pay the county a fee for, for the distribute, for hooking up to them.
Okay, that was my question. Okay, and you said that we disagree, the city and the county disagree on the methods used. What method do we prefer? I know you mentioned the county's preferred method.
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways that that we've been exploring, but the method that we use right now is based on the number of gallons that each water provider gives to the county, individual residents and businesses and commercial properties as a whole. And then we basically use a percentage of that to determine, how much the city is contributing and how much the county is contributing. And then, so it's a surrogate to actual metering. So if you at your house use an average of 4,000 gallons of water per month, then we use that number and compare it to the number of thousands of gallons that the city is using, and we come up with the proportion of what city users have and county users have. So currently, the 2010 agreement said that the county should be allocated 87.13, I think it is, or 14% of the operational costs of the wastewater treatment plant, and the city should be allocated the rest.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to capital costs, the award said that this county was only responsible for 66% of the capital costs, and the city was responsible for the 33 1/3%.
Okay.
But what the county would like to do is they would like a similar sort of breakdown of proportion, but they want it based on the flow of water that comes in and the strength of the water that comes in. And while we don't necessarily object to that scientific basis, the problem is the metering and the sampling and getting accurate, reliable, consistent data that we can base a bill off of, right? So, because we are billing them.
Right.
And they feel that they can get an accurate number through their pump stations, but their pump stations are many, some are more than a mile away. And we think that the best place to measure it is directly at the wastewater treatment plant. And we have not found a suitable engineering way to actually do that metering and sampling. The sampling is for the strength of the waste. So that's one of the sort of details that we get into.
Okay, thank you. And just a follow-up, Chair.
Yes, proceed.
Have we taken a look at, are there any surrounding cities or cities that are in the same situation that we are in? And how did they fix it?
We are. So we're in a little bit of a unique system because we're the minority user, but we're the owner, right? Usually it's the opposite. It's the other way around. The majority user is also the owner.
All right.
There are systems all across the country that, there's a few that are like ours, and they use a similar system that that the 2010 agreement was based off of. And then other places use the flow and strength method. It's sort of all over the place. And all of the agreements are individually negotiated, and none of the agreements look alike. If you look at the city of Philadelphia, they charge their wholesale customers, they charge them a lot more than we're coming close to. So, it's sort of all over the board, which is why we can't really agree.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, President Congo, for those questions. Any other councilwomen, any other council persons have questions for Commissioner Williams?
I do, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Kelly. Could you tell me again how many years has this been going on?
So the actual agreement expired on November. Oh, okay. So the actual agreement expired in 2012. There were 5 extensions until November 30th, 2014.
Okay.
And so we have been providing a service without an actual agreement since, December 1st, 2014.
And do you think they would allow us to do that if the shoe was on the other foot? I just wanted to say that because they wouldn't. Okay, thank you so much, Kelly.
I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Harley.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Is Councilmember Fields done?
I'm sorry. Councilwoman Fields, have you concluded or do you have a follow-up?
No, Madam Chair, I'm done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, Commissioner Kelly, I heard you just say how I guess the fees to be charged are all over the place. Have you ever thought about just trying to figure out the medium, the average of with everybody? Were you talking about fees that everyone is paying? I know I jumped in a little late, so I guess I should confirm if y'all were talking about how everyone's paying.
Yeah, we were, the question was about what other utilities, municipal utilities do and how they work out the fees. And my answer is that there's every place is unique and the fees are sort of all over the place. Like they're, and so there's no real direct comparison. It's really hard to do. To your question is, have we found, have we just tried to, come to an agreement on some medium number? And, the answer to that is yes, right? I think in the beginning of the Williams administration, when Cleon Cawley was the Commissioner of Public Works, and he too was a lawyer, and he was, had a relationship with the, the attorney at Newcastle County, and we thought we came very, very close to a nice medium number, but in the end, it was rejected.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome. Councilwoman McCoy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my question is kind of like a follow-up to Councilwoman Harley's. It's more so about what is the percentage then, as we're getting payments, when is the last time we've actually received a payment, and what percentage would you consider the amount that is being paid? Like how much of their bill is actually being paid?
So they're paying more than 80% of it, I would say. I don't know the numbers exactly. I'd have to, check with finance. But if you're going by the strict rule of law, the last agreement that was in place allows us to receive 87.27. That's it. That's the number, 87.27%. And they definitely haven't been paying that. So they sort of just picked a number. For a while, they were using the 2016 number. But of course, our costs go up every year just because, every cost goes up every year. So, it's quite a big number. And as a result, we've taken on a lot of risk for sure. Their underpayment, it's baked into our rate. So I'll be coming before you with our rate making experts and asking for, or talking about a water sewer rate increase, and that gap is part of that.
Okay. Now follow up, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Hi, thank you. So, so there's like 7% that we're actually not receiving on I'm believing this is like annual basis. And now we may have to consider an increase because of such, like when it's time to do our budget. Now, last budget, we actually, I believe we did not increase for Newcastle County. We actually whatever small increase happened, it actually just happened for Wilmingtonians. Newcastle County did not have to take that increase. I just want to make sure that I was correct in assuming that.
So last year, because of COVID, we had no increase to anybody. Correct. But the year before that, we had an increase to city water and sewer, but not to county water.
Right. So now, if the increase actually was to happen to county only, rather than you said that we are the minority, but yet, I'm sorry, I can't even get it out. I'm sorry. But the place that we're actually doing all of this stuff is happening here. The site and the location is here, but we are the minority users. Why aren't we just turning that around? Why aren't we making certain that the increase, if it happens with Newcastle County, if they're unable to meet that other 7%, then the increase actually happens to Newcastle County? Had that been considered?
Yeah, so the rate that the Newcastle County pays is just related to water. It's not related to wastewater. So you have to keep the two separate. Okay. When you're a county resident and you live in a certain area, if we, the city, provide you with water, you're just paying the water charges. You're not paying the sewer charges. Newcastle County actually bills their own residents for sewer. And, you know, that's how it's billed. And then we, the city, billed Newcastle County as one wholesale customer for the operation, you know, their percentage of the operation of the plant. Does that make sense? I know it's complicated. Water sewer is always complicated.
It is a little, but I think you were able to make a little more sense to me. Because I'm just wondering, like, you know, why would the residents of the city of Wilmington actually have to bear more of the brunt if we're actually still waiting for Newcastle County to pay its bill? So I
Why
have
we're in
nothing.
court. Yeah, and you know, I mean, another point that's not, again, it's not part of the litigation because it doesn't have to do with science or numbers or whatever, is that I would argue that the city is disproportionately impacted, right? So you have, what, 500, 600,000 people in the county who are sharing this cost, but only, you know, 70,000 people in the city. And so for every dollar increase that we have, you know, that it costs to actually treat wastewater, the burden is bigger on city residents because there's less people to spread it out, if you will. Yeah. I mean, and that's the, you know, I do appreciate this opportunity and your interest in actually like in this topic.
Thank you. I have a lot
Because
of
it's,
interest in water concerns. Are there
Yeah.
any other council members that have questions or statements? Anyone else?
Yes, I have one.
Okay. Go ahead.
Commissioner Williams, you said that a decision should be made in November. Or
the
that's what-
arbitration happened in November, and I don't know the scheduling exactly, but a decision should be shortly thereafter. So I think they have the three arbitrators, I think they have 60 days. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back
Okay.
and look.
Okay.
But it is, you know, imminent.
Okay. Well, and will they be deciding on like the methodology that will be used from here on out? And also if they determine that the county does owe the city, like the county would have to be responsible for paying those funds also? Are they determining both things or just one?
So they're definitely going to be determining what, if any, monies the city owes us. I mean, the county owes us. They'll be determining, you know, we've asked for interest and penalties. And then, yeah, the crux of the actual arbitration is going to be what methodology to use for how long, you know, and I'm not sure if they'll make us enter into an agreement or if we just have to abide by their methodology. I'm not sure what will happen with that, but that's part of, I think it's part of the dispute.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other business that's dealing with the county? Any other business relationship with the county? Like, I guess I'm asking, has this put a strain on the relationship between the city and the county, or are we still okay outside of this issue? If you're able to speak to that.
No, it's definitely put a strain on at least, you know, the governmental employees of the city and the county. They, if you ask them, they'll say that, you know, we're charging them an exorbitant amount, that we don't manage our facility properly. They'll say that they can do a better job at it. They'll say that, they're paying more than their fair share is sort of what historically they've said, and it causes a very big strain between us. The other business that we have with the county is that we share this building. So the building is owned jointly by us and the county, and so Public Works is responsible for the building, and we have certain capital projects that need to be done. For example, the elevators, and then negotiating with them on having them give us their portion for projects like the elevators can be difficult. I'm pretty sure they didn't put in any money for the lobby. I think they felt, I'm not. So that's an example.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me chime
Okay.
in and say, I'm sorry, Commissioner Kelly.
Can I just add one? Can I add one other thing?
Marshall, you're next. I just want to make a comment that we're also involved with the county with the tax assessment. I mean, that should be a statewide thing, but the tax assessment is coming up in the county. Newcastle County is the person that will be doing that also. Okay, I think next is Marshall. You took your hand down. Do you still want to speak?
Oh, yes, Madam Chair, I was just going to add on to what Commissioner Williams was saying. I was just going to mention also that the tax assessment, you just mentioned that. And also another thing that we're involved in, with the county, from a financial perspective is if there's any adjustments to any of the commercial properties or anything, that also, goes through Newcastle County. So we deal with them on that basis. And one other question I had for the commissioner is, she mentioned about, you mentioned, Commissioner, about waste, and that's something that's not addressed with the dependent litigation. So is that something that could be looked into? Like, what does other cities do? Are there other cities where their system is set up similar to what the city and the county does? And could there be opportunity here when it comes to, that waste, since a good chunk of that is dealing with, the county and with the industrial side? Because I heard you mention that, and that seems to be key as well.
Yeah, so part of what we need to do in this arbitration is come to a multi-jurisdictional agreement, which means that the county promises to, the county and the city have to come to some sort of written agreement with respect to industrial pre-treated waste. So what that means is that there are some industries out there that want to put down the drain, if you will, a waste that is so sort of heavy or contaminated, if you want to use that word, or, it's got some components in it that are, so toxic that they have to treat it before it even gets into the drain. So right now, the way it's set up is the city has jurisdiction over our 3 industries that are involved in that. And then the county sort of regulates and runs the program for the other industrial users throughout the county. And we have to come to some sort of agreement between us, some sort of set of ground rules. And we've not been able to do that as well. So that's another portion of what is being, litigated. And what happens is if inappropriate waste comes to the wastewater treatment plant, it disrupts the plant. So for example, some, this is really gross, but some chicken parts were sent to the wastewater treatment plant. And there's all these like feathers and bones and whatever, like sludgy, disgusting stuff that literally stopped the system from working. And we found out that, that had come from a county, somewhere in the county, and, it caused a lot of problems. It shut down the machine. We had to, clean it out before we could start up. It's an issue because, you don't want that stuff coming to our facility. We don't have the ability to treat it in a way that, comes out clean the other end. And because we, the city, are on the permit, we are the ones who could be fined by the EPA. But we have very little control over it. And so that's why that agreement is sort of needed to be put in place. Does that make sense?
Marshall?
No, thanks, Madam Chair, and I apologize for going out of.
No, you were next.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I think Councilperson Oliver is next.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make a statement, just I'd like to just thank Commissioner Williams for her presentation. And I'd like to thank you for doing a really great job. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Darby?
Good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you, Commissioner Kelly. This was very informative. I took a lot of notes and just understanding how the city of Wilmington interacts with Newcastle County is just interesting. But what do you want to see from us to support you, other than you coming here, giving us all this great information and educating us? Like, is there any way as a council we can support this? We can help hold anyone accountable. How do we go about, hey, we want to hold you accountable, but we want to mend relationships with you? Because I think it's important that even through this process that we're thinking about still developing future, healthy relationships with the county. So like, how can we support you as a council or support this initiative? Or I don't even know.
So, that's a wonderful question. And where this has been stuck for, it's almost a decade now, God, right, is sort of at my level and my equivalence level, right? And we're really vested, and they have very strong opinions, we have very strong opinions, and so we're sort of mired in all of these really highly technical details, and metering and sampling and how often and how long, it could get very, very mired down. I mean, maybe if the politicians just talk and say, we should solve this problem, we can come to a resolution. But you, as this, city's representative, I just want you guys to be aware that it's more than just money. Like I said earlier, like, we're bearing the brunt of this environmental injustice. Like, I mean, that's the way, I mean, of course we built it and we chose that location, but, they've been building up their county on our back, really, if you look at it, right? So I just, I want that to be part of the conversation when you're having with, your counterparts in the county, right? It's not always about money. It really isn't. You know what I'm saying? It's about all these other things. And I want that to be part of the conversation too. So, if you have the opportunity to interact with the county council members and they say, oh, the city, we're paying too much, we're paying more than our fair share. And, well, what about the fact that it's our residents who smell this every day? And, how do you put a price on that? I don't know. I would love for you guys to work, work on a political level to just try to come to some sort of, understanding. But it's grown, we sort of each side digs deeper in their position every year and every administration that goes by. And so maybe you can help us break free of that.
Yeah, that could be a starting point. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Any follow-up, Councilwoman Darby?
No, really no follow-up, but I hope that beyond this conversation of us just being educated on it, that we're like committed as a council to developing those relationships and like actually trying to do something about it. So I hope that we're willing to do that work. That's it.
Okay, thank you. I think Councilwoman Fields, you're next.
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for recognizing me. First of all, I would definitely like to apologize to Commissioner Kelly for calling her Kelly. I apologize for that. Because I know what it feels like when people don't pronounce your name correctly, when it's Brigida and they pronounce it incorrectly. So I understand I just wanted to apologize for that. But I also wanted to just thank you very much for your presentation today, because it was very informative, and it has, it puts that question out there to all of us on council. Like Council Member Darby said, like, what is your ask and where do we play our part? So I appreciate it. Thank you. And again, I apologize.
Thank you. I'm on mute, but I'd like to add to that because Commissioner Williams, you had said earlier you wanted us to focus on public policy issues. Can you be, and I think this goes to what Councilwoman Darby and Councilwoman Fields are saying, can you be specific? I understand you're talking about pollution based on the plant, but I mean, how can we address that as far as the citizens are concerned? Do you have any concrete, specific suggestions?
So I do. So, what we haven't talked about in this meeting is the Renewable Energy Biosolids facility. So it's called the REBF, and it was a very progressive, aggressive attempt to basically have our wastewater treatment plant be a net zero plant, right? So through different technologies and using landfill gas mixed with our digester gas, we're able to produce enough energy to supply all the energy that we need for the plant. It heats up a big dryer that dries the biosolids, which are generally this big sort of like really wet cake, and the dryer dries it to a fine sort of dirt-like texture, and what that means is that instead of 80 trucks of waste going to a landfill to be disposed of, we're down to like 2 trucks. So I mean, whenever I or anybody from my water department sort of come forward and ask for to borrow money or to do capital improvements at the wastewater treatment plant and the REBF, we would just love your support. We are very proud of where we're at and what we're doing, and trying to become a net zero plant and really improve the environment in that aspect. But there's been challenges because it's never been done before. But we're out there trying. And I think that sometimes, there's some kinks. So we need some help here and there. I mean, we were just before you a couple weeks ago for a budget amendment because of some of those kinks. And, but we're doing a phenomenal job out there. We've won awards. We're out there in the industry. Wilmington is on the map with respect to wastewater treatment plants and, what our attempts are. And yeah, I mean, all we're asking for is just your support going forward. We've got a lot of smart people doing a lot of smart things. And yeah, we're very proud of what we do. I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Hey there. I can read
Councilwoman,
some lips, but not all lips.
Councilwoman Darby, you have your hand up.
Yes, I was going to say thank you, Commissioner Kelly, for that specifically. I also think it would be really good if we can have like our fellows do some research on what's happening even nationwide in regards to this issue for us to kind of come up with like a policy plan. So like my ideas or thoughts is for like intergovernmental committee to be able to have like every year, like our agenda, like this is our agenda for Newcastle County. This is what we want to get done on a county level to make Wilmington a better place and to make our job more efficient. And the same thing with the state and even school boards. So I think that is really great. And I think the next step will just be for our fellows to do some research too and get back to us on some things for us to really be environmentally friendly, to protect our water and to hold other people accountable in our wastewater, everything we do with the county, right? Like what ways can we propose legislation on a county level to make sure that these things aren't happening? Because I drink the water. This is, you said it was stuff blocking it. I don't even want to drink the water tonight.
No, that you don't drink that water. You don't drink that water.
Oh, I'm like, oh
and
my God.
On that note, yeah, no. But on that note, Councilwoman Oliver. Well, so the water that you're drinking comes from the Brandywine.
Oh, okay.
And so we discharge into the Delaware, but only after it's cleaned and cleaned and cleaned and cleaned. And the water that you drink is cleaned and cleaned and cleaned before it gets into the pipes. Trust me. Well, I mean, you don't have to trust me.
I hope so.
Okay, Commissioner Williams, I have a couple questions. One, I wanted to clarify, I think it was said that the county collects the money from their residents and then pays us the sewer money. They collect the charges for their sewer, correct?
Correct. So,
and also, I was going to ask, do we have any other outside, I guess, customers other than the county and that one place in Pennsylvania we're discussing? Do we have any other customers for
no,
waste
but
treatment?
It's a lot. So everything north of the canal, so the top third of the state and the majority of the population. So I think in the last census, 85% of the people that we were servicing are outside of the city, and 15% was from inside of the city.
Okay, and one more. The RABF plant, can you tell me what air and water chemicals it's producing or releasing? I know you're going for the net zero, but what chemicals are being released?
So there is an air permit, and I can get you the specifics on what, DENREC has allowed us with respect to the air permit. But it is being regulated and tested, and we couldn't get a permit without it. I can just get you a copy of that. I don't know off the top of my head what chemicals are.
And I just wanted to comment that from my information, I understand our water is excellent. Our portable water is supposed to be very good. I don't really like water to drink, but I heard ours is excellent.
It is. Yes, and I can provide all the council people with a link that gives you all of our data with respect to all of our compliance. We've never been out of compliance. We've got historical reports that go out. All of your citizens can read them and look at them. And it's a good exercise just to do as a citizen and to see what you're drinking.
Thank you. My last question is, before I go to the public, if there's anyone, is how will the decision impact our city residents either way, if the arbitration comes down on the side of the city or the arbitration comes down on the side of the county, as far as calculating the rates?
So we have calculated the rates in a pretty conservative manner, meaning that, right now it's 87.27%, and we don't expect that. We know that it should be lower, and we've offered lower, a lower percentage, and we've banked on that. So I mean, if it depends on how dramatic it is, really. So if the arbitrator decides that the county is only responsible for 70% of the O&M costs of the water plant, then our rates will go up significantly, for sure. I mean, they're operating expenses. They can't really be pushed off or kicked down the road. That's how much it is to be in compliance, and do the and treat the waste. So there's a potential that if we lose significantly, that there will be an increase in resident sewer bills.
And if it's decided, the arbitration is decided on our side, then do you think there would be a reduction in sewer bills to Wilmington residents?
I think that if we receive all the back money that I believe that we're entitled to, and if there's penalties and interest added to that, that will all go back into the water sewer fund, and the line that it will go into is the rate stabilization fund. So what that will do is it allow future rates to be much lower or zero than if we had not won or gotten that money back.
Okay. And you said you're asking for fees and penalties. You aren't asking for attorney fees?
I'm not sure. I don't
That's citizen tax money.
Yeah, no, I don't know that the arbitrators allow for that. It's not clear.
Okay, that might have to be a court decision versus arbitration.
It has, the way the previous agreement was written, it is not a court decision. It has to be arbitrated.
Okay.
And the arbitration is binding, yeah.
Okay, is there anyone in the public that would like to make a comment or question? Is this Kelly Fannin?
Oh, Kelly Farnan.
Farnan? Could you please unmute yourself? Does she hear me? Do you hear me?
Madam Chair, I don't think that's for that member of the public has a comment.
Okay, thank you. So there aren't any other people that have comments out there. Okay, well, if no other council members have any comments, Commissioner Williams, I really thank you. This was very informative. As a little sideline, I used to calculate electric and water rates for the federal government. So I have some knowledge of this, and my husband's involved in a commission. So I really appreciate this, and I'll look forward to getting the supplemental information that you're going to send. And if there's nothing else, then I
I-
conclude. Go ahead.
I would like to offer that our department is happy to give a tour of the wastewater treatment plant. I highly
definitely would.
recommend it. It is a very impressive facility. And until you're on the ground and see what it actually looks like, it's really hard to imagine.
And not on a hot
so
summer day.
Not on a hot summer day. You would much be, you'd probably want to do it in March, April, May, not in June, not July or August. But it is worth your time just to see how everything works.
Can you give us a number or someone to contact if we would like to schedule a tour?
I'm gonna offer up either Marshall and Daniel, and they can reach out to me, and we'll set it up. And if we can set it up so one or two or three of you are there at one time, that would be great. But
Also, what about the
just like that-
freshwater plant? Can we tour the freshwater plant also?
You can, yes. So we can do a tour of the Porter treatment plant. Absolutely. That will show and demonstrate how we process clean drinking water. Yep.
Okay, I think this was very informative. I really appreciated Commissioner Williams for your time and all the information. Since you've been involved, like you said, for over 12 years, hopefully you didn't have to do too much research for this, but it was very informative. And I thank everyone. And this is the conclusion of this meeting. I just want to point out that this is a new committee, the Intergovernmental. If you have ideas or something that we can schedule, it will be monthly. If we have a subject, please contact me or Councilwoman Darby for it. Thank you and good night, everyone.
Right.